Hello, my friend. Welcome to my All Farmers channel for all American farmers. Have you ever wondered how your morning cup of coffee makes its way from the farm to your kitchen? Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Brazilian coffee farming and the incredible process of harvesting millions of pounds of coffee beans each year. From the fields to your table, we'll uncover the secrets behind this agricultural marvel. Before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to receive the next fascinating videos from the world of farming from all farmers. The coffee plant, a member of the Rubiaceae family, is a perennial shrub that thrives in tropical climates. Its botanical name, Coffea arabica, reflects its Arab origins, though it has been cultivated in Brazil for centuries. The plant is characterized by its dark green leaves, fragrant white flowers, and vibrant red coffee cherries. The coffee cherry is a drupe, a fleshy fruit that contains two seeds, which are the coffee beans we roast and grind. The outer layer of the cherry, called the exocarp, is a bright red color when ripe, while the inner layer, called the mesocarp, is a pulpy substance that surrounds the beans. The beans themselves are encased in a parchment-like layer called the endocarp. The coffee plant is a self-pollinating species, meaning that it can fertilize itself without the aid of pollinators. However, cross-pollination between different coffee plants can produce offspring with more desirable traits, such as higher yields, better flavor, and greater resistance to pests and diseases. Coffee plants are typically propagated from cuttings or seeds. Cuttings are taken from the stems of mature coffee plants and are then planted in a nursery. Seeds are obtained from ripe coffee cherries and are also planted in a nursery. Once the seedlings have grown to a sufficient size, they are transplanted into the field. The coffee plant is a relatively slow-growing plant, and it can take several years for a newly planted coffee tree to begin producing fruit. However, once a coffee plant reaches maturity, it can produce fruit for many years. The lifespan of a coffee plant can vary depending on the variety and the growing conditions, but it is typically between 20 and 30 years. Coffee plants are susceptible to some pests and diseases, including coffee leaf rust, coffee berry borer, and nematodes. These pests and diseases can reduce the yield of coffee plants and damage the quality of the coffee beans. Coffee farmers use a variety of methods to control pests and diseases, including the use of pesticides, fungicides, and biological control agents. In addition to pests and diseases, coffee plants can also be affected by environmental factors such as drought, excessive rainfall, and extreme temperatures. These factors can have a significant impact on the yield and quality of coffee beans. Coffee farmers must carefully manage their coffee plantations to ensure that the plants are healthy and productive. Harvesting coffee is a labor-intensive process that typically begins in the early morning. Workers carefully pick the ripe cherries, ensuring only the best quality beans make it to the processing facilities. This task requires a keen eye and a steady hand, as even a single overripe or underripe cherry can negatively impact the final flavor of the coffee. Traditional harvesting methods involve workers picking the cherries by hand, a process that is both time-consuming and physically demanding. However, in recent years, there has been a growing trend towards the use of mechanical harvesters. These machines can significantly speed up the harvesting process, but they are not always suitable for all types of terrain or coffee plants. The timing of the harvest is critical for producing high-quality coffee. Coffee cherries are typically harvested during the rainy season, when the fruit is at its peak ripeness. However, if the harvest is delayed too long, the cherries may become overripe and begin to ferment on the plant, which can damage the beans and reduce their quality. In addition to the timing of the harvest, the method used to harvest the coffee cherries can also have a significant impact on the quality of the final product. Traditional hand-picking methods are generally preferred by coffee farmers, as they allow workers to carefully select only the ripe cherries and avoid damaging the beans. However, mechanical harvesters can also be used effectively, provided that they are properly calibrated and operated. Once the coffee cherries have been harvested, they are typically transported to a nearby processing facility. This can be done by hand, using carts or wheelbarrows, or by using specialized machinery. The transportation process must be done carefully to avoid damaging the cherries and to ensure that they are delivered to the processing facility promptly. The harvesting of coffee cherries is a complex and challenging process that requires careful planning and execution. By selecting the right harvesting method, timing the harvest appropriately, and ensuring that the cherries are transported safely to the processing facility, coffee farmers can help to produce high-quality coffee that meets the demands of discerning consumers. Once harvested, the coffee cherries are taken to the processing facility, where they undergo several stages of transformation. The first step is pulping, which involves removing the outer skin and pulp of the cherry. This is typically done using a pulping machine, which consists of a cylindrical drum with serrated blades that gently remove the outer layers of the cherry without damaging the beans. After pulping, the coffee beans are separated from the remaining pulp and mucus. This is done by a process called fermentation, which involves placing the pulped beans in large tanks or containers and allowing them to ferment for some time. During fermentation, naturally occurring enzymes break down the remaining pulp and mucus, giving the coffee beans their characteristic flavor profile. The fermentation process can take anywhere from 12 to 48 hours, depending on the desired flavor profile and the ambient temperature. The fermentation process is a critical step in developing the unique flavor characteristics of coffee. Different types of coffee beans undergo different fermentation processes, and the length of time that the beans spend in fermentation can significantly affect their taste. For example, some coffee beans may be fermented for a longer period to develop a more complex and intense flavor, while others may be fermented for a shorter period to preserve their natural sweetness and acidity. Once the fermentation process is complete, the coffee beans are washed to remove any remaining pulp and impurities. This is typically done by using a series of water tanks or channels that gently wash the beans and remove any residual material. The washed beans are then dried, which is a critical step in preserving their quality and flavor. Drying can be done in the sun, in drying beds, or using mechanical dryers. The choice of drying method depends on the weather conditions and the desired drying time. Drying the coffee beans is a delicate process that requires careful monitoring to ensure that the beans are dried evenly and to the correct moisture content. If the beans are not dried properly, they may become moldy or develop other defects. The drying process can take several days or even weeks, depending on the weather conditions and the drying method used. Once the beans are dried to the desired moisture content, they are ready for the next stage of processing, which is grading and sorting. Grading and sorting involve a meticulous examination of each bean to identify defects and variations in size, shape, and color. The beans are then separated into different categories based on their quality attributes, such as density, acidity, and sweetness. After drying, the coffee beans are carefully graded and sorted to ensure consistency and quality. This process involves a meticulous examination of each bean to identify defects and variations in size, shape, and color. The beans are then separated into different categories based on their quality attributes, such as density, acidity, and sweetness. Density is a measure of the weight of a coffee bean relative to its size. Beans with a higher density tend to be more flavorful and have a richer body. Acidity is a measure of the tartness or brightness of a coffee bean. Coffee beans with a higher acidity have a more pronounced and refreshing flavor. Sweetness is a measure of the perceived sweetness of a coffee bean. Coffee beans with a higher sweetness have a more balanced and pleasant flavor. The grading and sorting process is essential for ensuring that the coffee beans are of the highest quality and meet the specific requirements of different markets. Specialty coffee roasters often have strict standards for the quality of the coffee beans they purchase, and they may only accept beans that meet certain criteria. By carefully grading and sorting the coffee beans, producers can ensure that they are providing their customers with the best possible product. In addition to grading and sorting the coffee beans by their quality attributes, producers may also separate them by size and shape. This is done to ensure that the beans are roasted evenly and that the finished coffee has a consistent flavor profile. Coffee beans that are too large or too small may not roast properly, and they may produce a coffee that is either under-extracted or over-extracted. By separating the beans by size and shape, producers can help to prevent these problems and ensure that the coffee they produce is of the highest quality. Once graded and sorted, the coffee beans are meticulously packaged to ensure they arrive at their destination in pristine condition. This process involves a variety of techniques, including hand bagging, machine filling, and vacuum sealing. The choice of packaging method depends on factors such as the type of coffee, the intended market, and the transportation distance. Hand bagging is a traditional method that involves filling burlap sacks with coffee beans by hand. This method is often used for specialty coffees and is prized for its artisanal quality. Machine filling is a more efficient method that uses specialized machines to fill bags with coffee beans. This method is commonly used for larger quantities of coffee and is ideal for commercial applications. Vacuum sealing is a packaging technique that removes all air from the package, preserving the freshness and aroma of the coffee beans. This method is often used for premium coffees and is particularly effective for preventing oxidation. Before packaging, the coffee beans are subjected to rigorous quality control inspections to ensure they meet the highest standards. This includes checking for defects, foreign objects, and moisture content. Any beans that do not meet the quality standards are rejected and discarded. The inspection process is typically carried out by trained professionals who use a combination of visual inspection and electronic sorting machines. Visual inspection involves carefully examining the coffee beans for defects such as discolored beans, stones, and insect damage. Electronic sorting machines use advanced technology to identify and remove defective beans based on their size, shape, and density. The inspection process is essential to ensure that the coffee beans that are exported are of the highest quality and meet the expectations of consumers around the world. Once packaged, the coffee beans are loaded onto trucks or trains and transported to shipping ports. From there, they are shipped to various destinations around the world, including North America, Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Brazil is the world's largest coffee producer, exporting millions of pounds of coffee to countries around the globe. The coffee we enjoy in our daily lives has likely made a long journey from these very farms. The journey from the coffee farms to the consumer's cup is a complex and multifaceted process that involves a wide range of stakeholders, including farmers, processors, exporters, importers, and roasters. Each of these stakeholders plays a vital role in ensuring that the coffee beans reach their destination in a timely and efficient manner. The coffee industry is a global business that has a significant impact on the economies of many countries around the world. Brazil's coffee exports contribute billions of dollars to the country's economy and provide employment opportunities for millions of people. From the lush coffee plantations to the bustling processing facilities, the journey of coffee beans is a fascinating one. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Brazil's coffee farms. We hope you have a newfound appreciation for the hard work and dedication that goes into producing the cup of coffee you enjoy every day. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel.